I'd like to call this meeting of the Show City Council to order. Show that all council members are present with the exception of Councilman Hatch, and Councilman also have asked to be excused tonight. Tonight, I've asked Councilman Adams to lead us in the invocation, followed by the pledge by Councilman Wilson. If you'd all like to stand and join us.
Our Father in heaven, we humbly come before you this evening. Father, we are grateful that we could gather together as a community and to talk about our beautiful town and city. We pray that that will be with us as we discuss these things. Father, we pray that we'll be able to have thy spirit here. We ask you to please bless with those council members that aren't here, that aren't well, that you would be with them and comfort them as they're not well. We're grateful for the staff in the city and how they take care of our beautiful community. We are grateful for the law enforcement and those who serve our country and keep us safe. And we humbly say these things in the name of our Savior, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Join me in the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you both. I appreciate that. Something about that before we do every meeting is just, it's awesome. I'm glad we continue that. Okay, next item on the agenda is call to the public. Any citizen desire to speak on a matter that is within the jurisdiction of the city may do so at this time. Seeing nobody move, I will move on to the next item. Next item is special events, a presentation by Show Unified School District. Mr. Housley.
Thank you, Mayor Leach and members of the council. Appreciate the opportunity tonight to stand before you and to bring to conclusion at the end of a long 5 years, a report on the bond expenditures and the support that we've received from the community through that effort. I want to make sure that we provided that for you this evening. The bond, just for general information, the bond is a capital improvement bond, which can only be used for brick and mortar. So that's what you'll see. It's not to affect salaries or anything else. The purpose of the bond, as I believe you can see that in front of you, there were a couple factors that we were considering as we decided to go out for a bond. First off is in 2008 through 2010, during the recession, the state of Arizona needed to stay afloat, and they found ways to get money. One of those was to take money from education, and that took money from our capital budgets. So for 10 years, capital budgets in school districts were reduced to the point where they were reduced down to 15%. That's what we were bringing in as 15%. So you can see in 2016-17, the district capital budget was $165,000. Just to put that in perspective, that $165,000 wouldn't buy a bus in 2016 and 17. We have over 500,000 square feet of building, and that $167,000 was supposed to take care of that. To help suffice, many school districts, including Sholo, took money from the M&O budget and moved it into our capital budget. Our budget is much like many others, but in ours, M&O and capital usually are very distinct and separate from each other. We can move money, and many districts did, to take care of just the basic necessities. And so after 10 years of delayed maintenance or no maintenance on buildings, there was a need. And so we began to look around and figure out what those needs were. The purpose of the bond was stated in the bond documents as safety and security, transportation, technology, and facility improvement. As you can see there were some safety concerns, security, as far as fire, intercom, AC, or lack thereof, secure entry, single points of entry. We had, our schools were developed and built in the 70s, and under that concept, they were wide open.
There was nothing wrong with the 70s, by the way. Just
Wrong with the 70s.
let you know.
70s were great for those who can remember. But they,
Made us feel old.
they were great when they were there. We had more open and openness. With Columbine in the 90s, that changed, and things started to close just a little bit more. And there's more of a concern for a secure environment for kids to be educated. We had an open campus. In fact, if you remember the junior high, you had to enter through the heart of campus to get through the door into the office, which was right in the center. So we needed to address that. Drop off and pick up. It's never going to be perfect. It's not perfect now, but we had all the cars on the interior of the campus. In fact, there was one of the emergencies we had in town. We had people parked in the center of campus, and if it was an emergency on campus, we wouldn't have been able to navigate emergency personnel. That was one thing that was concerning. Our bus fleet, as you can tell from what we put there, 17 of our buses at the time were over 100,000 miles. 78% were over 10 years old, and 45% rated poor or very poor in condition. That was a concern to us. We run a lot of miles. Our district isn't very wide, but it's super long, from the Y all the way past Clay Springs. And so we do run a lot of route miles, some of which were on dirt roads. Technology, both student and teachers. At the time, teachers, I walked into a classroom and we had a teacher who had a laptop, who had a battery jumper cable at the end that was holding it together, just so that they could use it in the classroom. And apparently it had fallen on the floor at one point and separated, so they were keeping it together, literally just holding it together, right? And so we needed to address that. Student access to technology was sparse, to say the least. Our infrastructure, I sat in a meeting early on and we talked about bringing Wi-Fi and high-speed internet to the mountain. And we sat around our administrative meetings thinking, how in the world would that even benefit us? We don't have the infrastructure or the backbone in our network to be able to take care of that. And so we had to address that. Teacher devices, moving towards one-to-one, increased bandwidth, and standardizing equipment. Our end user, if we had gigabyte service, our end users couldn't even process gigabyte. So we had to make that change. Facility improvements with delayed maintenance, there's a lot of things that we didn't have. We didn't have conditioning non-conditioned spaces. That was important to the Bond Oversight Committee, and you'll see who served on that. But the SFB, when they, the school facilities board at the state level, they apparently don't feel like it gets hot over 6,500 feet in elevation. So that's not in their minimum guidelines. Air conditioning above that level isn't in the state minimum guidelines. And so our buildings would never get that. They would just get swamp coolers, including our gymnasium. We needed some energy efficiency. All of our light bulbs and other things were old, outdated, and additional parking was important. And we had some roofing issues at Whipple Ranch in particular. When I came on, I was told that the roof at Whipple Ranch, which was metal, was just replaced in recent years, but it actually leaked like a sieve. So we needed to address that issue. And so we began to meet with the community and to establish committees, talk to the community members. As you can see on this slide, here are some of the people who served on that committee. Councilman Clark served on that committee, as well as some Mayor Muter, or not Mayor, excuse me, City Manager Muter. You don't want to be the leader yet. And others helped to serve on that to put that together. Then we had a Capital Bond Oversight Committee, and that was a smaller committee that helped drive some of the decision making. I will tell you that we brought several options, for example, to the table around conditioning spaces, and this committee felt very strongly that we needed to put air conditioning in the classrooms in particular. And so that's why one of those decisions were made. We did find out as we went through some of these projects, and you'll see that you make a decision one way and then you have other infrastructure, right? Not only were the buildings built in 1970, that's when the electrical was established, and we had some deficiencies that needed to be addressed. And so we went about doing that. So bond communication, The Bond Oversight Committee, we had a Capital Improvement Committee, a Project Oversight Committee, we had a Bond Election Committee, and we had a final meeting held of that Bond Oversight Committee in August of 2019. It's odd to think of, COVID's affected 3 school years and 8 quarters of school. And so when you think about this wrapping up in 2019, that seems so far in the distance, but it was in 2019 when we held our last meeting. Bond website, part of the contractor's responsibility that we place on them, they created a bond website. It was made available to the public through a link on our main website. Outlined each project, expenditure allocated for the project, and it outlined project timelines and pictures of the improvements as they went through. We had a bond newsletter that was published monthly, and we updated bond and SFB project status in that newsletter. Monthly updates to the board in regular school board meetings. Each month information was presented to update the board and the community. And then required communications and publication and public meetings required by the bond and legal statutes. So what did we do? Let's just start at the Shoalo Junior High. This is probably, well, it's one of the older buildings. If you remember walking into the junior high before, some of you may have went to school there. It had higher vaulted ceilings, had some different things there. A drop ceiling was put in. We were conditioning or heating all that space up there. We have a drop ceiling in each of the classrooms now, LED lights and air conditioning. Just a little side note, you might have heard around town or at different times, well, my classroom's cold or it's too hot or it's, it's the 3 bears scenario. The energy management system, the EMS, schools are pretty vulnerable, and I would have never thought, but our EMS system in the last year was hacked by hackers, and it's taken down that system, which we just put into place through part of the bond. And so we had to clean all that system up, and then the insurance had to replace those things so we can actually turn our air conditioners on and off and regulate the heat and cooling. But new secure front entry, the junior high now enters from Cougar Lane. Air conditioning in each classroom space, improved traffic flow, ensure limited traffic on the interior of the campus. Some would debate whether it was improving traffic flow, but traffic flow is what it is. And improved classroom technology. Each of the classrooms are now equipped. We had overhead projectors on big screens, and those were real hard to work unless it was dark in the classroom, which made it difficult for some kids. Then we decided, well, maybe we should go to LED overhead projectors. The LED bulbs are about $450 to replace. They say they last for years, but not really. So we went with TVs. Each of the classrooms have 70-inch TVs, which the teachers can project onto those TVs. We can do that in, just like our TVs here, we can do it in broad daylight. We don't have to shut down the lights, and the teachers can use their devices to cast onto those. Document cameras and Chromebooks. SFB, the School Facilities Board, we had some weatherization projects. So we replaced exterior windows on the junior high building, water sealed the exterior, and painted all exterior surfaces on the auditorium and junior high buildings. To tell you how porous the building was, they have this little device that they stick on the outside, and then they pour water on it, and it's supposed to hold the water for a long time. They would pour the water, and as soon as the water would go in, it would go out into the building walls. That's how porous our walls were. Now that they've been painted, you can do the same test, and it doesn't. None of the water penetrates. So that's been something that's been very beneficial. You can see some of the construction in this. Drainage in the new visitor parking off Cougar Lane, framing in the new administration space that was there. This is interesting, might be interesting to some of you, as they were doing the construction on the floor inside the junior high. You may remember the big fireplace.
Yep.
Yep. The actual carpet was still there. We had some of the carpet fragments, some of the brick.
Yeah, it was.
That was a high school, not the junior high.
Yep, that was the high school there when the old fire pit right in the center. I heard it was pretty spectacular.
Never got to torch it, but
The Shola High School, new secure entry, front entry connected the breezeways between the high school and the woodshop classroom. That was a real problem area where it would never unfreeze once it froze, and then we were using excessive amounts of salt, which caused the concrete to deteriorate between the buildings. And so we've resolved that issue. Now we can move back and forth without being in that snow there. Improve traffic flow to ensure limited traffic on the interior of the campus. So we have before the construction, there was one entry and one exit into the interior of the school. That was on Old Linden. Now we can exit behind the football stadium and onto Cougar Lane. So there's 3 points of exit and entry. We also had to water seal the high school, painted all exterior buildings in the high school. You will notice that one building is not painted, and that's where the wood shop is, the one on the far north of the campus. Still looks the same. That's because the school district built that building with school district funds, and the state facility board will not provide funds for a building that we purchased and we built on our own. So we'll have to use our funds. That's one of our priorities in our capital improvement over the next 7 years, is to paint that and to address some roofing issues. Again, you can see the breezeway connection there. Nicholas Homestead, again, we had to change the new secure front entry, added air conditioning and unconditioned spaces, updated electrical services. This was a major electrical overhaul. They had some issues where the electric was even located, had to move it to the exterior of the building, bring in a different service. And so that was a big deal. Improved traffic flow again. We eliminated the playground on the front of the campus and pushed things back into the interior of the campus and made that a parking lot. Again, improvement in classroom technologies. Water seal exterior building at the junior high, or excuse me, at Nicholas Homestead. This project has not been completed yet. The SFB saw the number of projects we were submitting, and they're like, wait a second, we got to prioritize them. So they've pushed some of them back. Nicholas Homestead and Linden were two of our buildings that qualified for weatherization, which is paint and windows, that still have not been completed at this time. I'm learning a lot about construction, for instance, that paint has to be engineered. You have to do engineered drawings of where paint's going to be. So that was something new to me. And the engineering process has taken a long time on some of these. But they will have that. You will notice that new office, front office space, if you walk into the building, it looks really nice. The LED lighting is there. It's opened up. In fact, a lot of people, you can see the Cougar above there. That's been there forever. Mr. Hall tells me, he assures me that's been there forever. But there are some people that walked into that office after it was done and said, wow, when was that Cougar put in? Because it was so dim and dark. The
My
LED.
son went there. I never saw that cougar.
See? There you go. And secure entry. I showed this next slide, I wanted to indicate to you that there were some projects that were on the docket that we had to just slide off because they didn't fit inside the pricing of the $10 million. So one of the breakouts there was the new visitor parking that was addressed, but we were going to move the bus drop off onto the track area. We don't use that for track anymore. That was a $217,000 option that we just tabled, maybe for future projects there. Whipple Ranch, same thing. You'll see the same thing there. Weatherization, replace faulty windows, paint all exterior surfaces, and replace the faulty roof there. Whipple Ranch, there you can see the secure entry. If you remember, when you walked into Whipple Ranch, you could actually enter into classrooms before you could enter into anything else. You had free access to that, all the hallways, pretty much unlimited and without much friction. Linden might have been one of the biggest transformations, not the biggest project, but the biggest transformation. It had two individual buildings, and they're building to create before construction, you had to walk all the way past one building and into the interior of the second, if you were going to pick up your kid or go visit someone. And the kids had to transition class in the winter and outside. They had to do it in all the, on one building, all the outside were exterior doors. Now there's we connected the two buildings. We moved the office space to the front, and now it's a secure entry. We added block walls around the exterior of the building so that the only point of entry is through the front office, which is great. The kids love being able to be indoors in the winter to go from class to class, and it was a great improvement. We also added parking and pickup. It hasn't eliminated the issues on the 260, but it's reduced the impact of the 260. 6 years ago, when for pickup on the end of the school day, you could go in the 260. The parent pickup line was way back past the bus pickup on the 260, causing some issues. And you know what that could do. So we added air conditioning to those spaces that weren't conditioned. This is also one of those projects that are, as I mentioned, waiting for the SFB. You can see in that picture how we connected the two buildings. I'd invite you to go out I don't know if any of you ever walked through the Linden building, but if you had a chance prior to and you go and walk through it now, it's a big difference. And we invite you to come and do that if you have time. You can see in this picture the enhanced parking. So let's just summarize real quick. We had LED lights throughout the district, new porcelain in all of our bathrooms. The sinks and the toilets were all added new, more water efficiency, and then the new EMS system, which, as I mentioned, was hacked. Updated electrical in the areas. Junior high was one. You couldn't plug in a cart of Chromebooks plus a coffee maker at the same time, or it would hit the breaker. And so we upgraded that electrical system. You'll see the new LED lighting in the high school gymnasium. Someday we will play in that gym. I'm very hopeful and optimistic. But the LED lighting also, one of the upgrades was to be able to, upon enter and exit, the lights should be able to go off on their own and turn on entry. And so that helps with the efficiency. Our parking lots, this was something that the staff really appreciated, especially in the wintertime. Sometimes teachers leave, they come before it's light and they leave before it's dark or after it's dark, and they were walking into dark parking lots. And we got a lot of feedback on their appreciation for having the parking lots lit. You can see some of the LED lighting in the junior high there. This is probably one thing that when we went through all the bond committee, I made a promise to the community. I was sitting in one of the very first community meetings and showing all the pictures of the needs. I remember distinctly one community member saying, "Mr. Housley, $10 million isn't enough to do all of this." And I said, "I understand. It's not, but I don't believe that we can ask the community at the time for more than $10 million. I said, "But I promise you that we're going to turn our 10 million into 15 million. So I want to show you how we did that. At the high school, we added high school weatherization was an added value, $285,000. The gym floor was replaced the first time using SFB money. I was told that couldn't happen. They wouldn't do that. The year before I came, we put $80,000 into improvements on the floor. It was buckling. We got them to declare it unplayable, and the SFB took care of it. Not only did they do that, they've added air conditioning to the gymnasium. So when you go to graduation, when we eventually get back in there, it's conditioned space now. They also told us that we wouldn't be able to do that, but they were able to do that. That HVAC replacement was $946,000. The floor replacement, because there's 3 full floors, $635,000. The roof assessment was $6,000. Design for the roof is $156,000. I will tell you that one of the outstanding projects that's not caught in here is the whole entire high school roof has to be replaced. And so I don't know what that's going to cost, but we'll see what that is as we move forward. High school bleachers, as we were going through the high school gym remodel. They're like, let's try for the bleachers. We tried for the bleachers and they granted us new bleachers, $354,000. High school HVAC assessment, $8,600. The design is $162,000. Emergency rentals, because we had the SFB declare them catastrophic failure in the high school, all of our HVAC units. So we had to put in rentals. And today, the rentals are $283,000 that the SFB picked up. All of our air conditioning units at the high school will have to be replaced. And they're currently been approved for replacement by the SFB. Current value of the high school projects, $2.8 million in SFB money. The junior high roof was replaced, $866,000. Correct power deficiencies was another 94. Weatherization, $785,000. HVAC for room 510 was $7,300, and then the nurse's office HVAC was another 67 for $1.7 million. Whipple Ranch weatherization was $452,000. The roof was another $460,000. Sewer line $6,600. Freezer repairs $6,000. Freezer replacement $84,000. We just replaced that freezer just recently. $1 million, just over $1 million at Whipple Ranch. Nicholas Homestead, again, this is a school that we're waiting for the weatherization to go through. That'll push us over $1 million, but current value of the projects is $104,000 at Nicholas Homestead, including, that will include a roof replacement at Nicholas Homestead. Linden also is at about $20,000 in SFB projects. Outstanding weatherization is estimated just under $1 million. So each of our sites will be impacted by SFB funds outside of our bond that we didn't have to put our local tax dollars to. And then the auditorium roofing assessment, it was $5,000. It does appear that the roof at the auditorium will have to be replaced. The SFB will do that, including redesigning of the front fascia where the water has caused a lot of damage there. We don't know the value, but we're also going to push for some ADA compliance because it was built so long ago, the ADA compliance, we may have some issues.
In the 70s again.
So
I didn't want to refer to that again.
Long time ago.
Ancient times.
Way back then.
were disabled.
Before we
So
were
again,
disabled.
the promise to the community was an additional $5 million that we would push for SFB projects. We've been awarded $5.7 million. And we have probably another $3 million in outstanding projects that are in application right now. I hope to make that number 10 million so that we can double the value of our bond. I really appreciate everything that the community has provided, and we feel value in offering and continue to find SFB dollars to increase that value. I just wanted to let you know, classroom technology upgrades. We've continued to take the effort of the Bond Oversight Committee, and we've taken every stride to be one-to-one. We are only lacking in one-to-one devices in our district in K1 and 2. And we are within just a few devices of being one-to-one in the K-12. And that means one Chromebook to every student. And that's pretty awesome. It's been 5 years since the onset of the bond. And so we, with some of our money that we have now through federal dollars that have come, we are looking at upgrading our teacher devices. They are 5 years old, and that's about what you would expect from a device that we've provided them. And so we're continuing to work for that. Our next steps, we completed, about 2 weeks ago, we completed a capital needs assessment. And what you see here is just a snapshot of our capital improvement plan. Our capital needs assessment we did, and today I received a report back from our maintenance director. What we found is a lot of our systems, for instance, at Whipple Ranch, our air conditioning units that are in there. The coils you can't just go down to the store and buy new coils. All the coils need to be replaced. The boiler will probably need to replace. They're all at end of life. When you think about a 20-year life cycle on some of these things, and we're in our 24th or longer years in use. So we've identified those things. We'll identify the things that we need to take to the SFB and continue to pluck away at. And I am happy to report that this year is the first year that the state is fully funding capital for school districts again. So we do have some capital resources to continue to address our deficiencies. But we know that that's not going to be enough. It's just over $1 million annually, so it's not going to be enough to address all the deficiencies. But we are confident we're moving in the right direction. So with that, if there's any questions, I would love to entertain those.
I got a quick comment. I know all the work that goes on at the schools, and the outsides look phenomenal. I don't go in the inside anymore. Every now and then go to a grandkids play, but I can tell you the schools look awesome. They look, the paint job on the auditorium, so they look really nice. Like, I don't know a lot of what goes on the inside, but I can tell you the outsides look phenomenal. Did we lose some trees in front of the junior high recently?
They were dead and decaying inside, so we had them removed.
And I don't know why, but I drove by there and it's like, wait, something's missing. Thank you for your report, for sure. It's awesome to see what's going on out there, especially with the bond money. Councilman Adams, you got any comments, or Vice Mayor?
Well, I'd just like to say that, there was such a community drive for this bond election, and there were so many people that contributed their time and volunteered their time and efforts, and Councilman Clark and his family and others. I just appreciate everybody coming together on behalf of our children and their future, and giving them a safe place to learn.
Absolutely.
I was going to say, I appreciate the 5.7 million or something that you were able to get to, so it's not assessed to us. I know as a taxpayer, I always look at that and I think, I don't have any kids in school, but it's so important. It's, even without kids in school, it's so important to make sure that the infrastructure of these schools and everything is up to, date and safe for the kid. So I do appreciate it.
Thank you.
Other comments? Thank you, sir. Appreciate it very much.
Mr. Hosley.
Can't believe those schools are that old.
Funny they had to do all that work after you guys left.
Eddie was the first graduating class.
Yeah, Ed went there too. Or any of
They had to
you.
do all the work.
Before us.
Yeah.
70s. Gosh, that was a long time ago. All right. Next item on the agenda is presentation of the State of the City address, and I really gotta thank our city clerk for. We were in a meeting a few weeks ago, and she made a comment about, hey, wait, maybe we should do something a little different on a video. So I'm pretty excited about this. This is kind of, I think this is the first time all of us are going to see what we did.
Yeah.
Of course, the staff did a great job putting this on as well. Grace and Miles and everybody behind the scenes back here that came out and set this up for each of us to do this. But at this time, we will present the State of the City address if they're ready. The start of the new year is the perfect time to reflect on what we accomplished last year and to share our plans for 2022. Your City Council has identified 4 major priorities that drive our policies and decisions: to preserve and to repair our infrastructure, focusing on roads, water, and sewer; to pursue community and economic development, to improve our quality of life, targeting on local safety, education, and opportunities, and to maintain an organization with stable and reliable leadership. Our major accomplishments over the year, our financial health, and our outlook on our future plans consistently support these 4 priorities. Our city's economic outlook continues a steady upward trend as evidenced. Monthly sales tax revenue in 2021 showed increases over 2020, with retail comprising just a little over 80% collections. We saw an increase in construction activity in residential sector, with 2021 being the most active for the year in residential construction since 2007. Our long-standing policies of being financially conservative, saving money for the future allows us each year to complete important projects. 2021 was no exception, as we completed several key projects to maintain and improve existing infrastructure.
In road projects, the citywide pavement reconstruction project include repaving of 14th Loop subdivision, Hillcrest subdivision, 6th Street, 16th Avenue, and East Willis. We constructed on West Owens Road between Pine Haven subdivision, Central Avenue, and the Deuce Clubs. A sidewalk was constructed along Shoalo Lake Road between Scotts Ranch Road and Shoalo Lake Campground. We also partnered with Torion to construct a sidewalk along Sugar Pine Way between Summit Trail and the Torion Clubhouse. During the summer and fall of this year, the Arizona Department of Transportation began making road improvements and pouring new sidewalks along Highway 60 and 260. They'll start construction again on White Mountain Road this spring. In wastewater projects, we completed sewer improvements on West Cooley and adjacent roadways between 4th Avenue and 8th Avenue. We also emplaced manholes to improve our infiltration and inflow. In water projects, we upgraded water lines citywide, including along 11th Avenue between West McNeil and West Owens, and replaced aging and undersized water lines for 4 separate locations on the Deuce Clubs and White Mountain Road prior to the state highway paving project. We also installed a water line connecting between Pine Haven subdivision and the Deuce Clubs. Other projects include expansion at the Shoalo Cemetery and improving the city campus parking lot by adding lighting, sidewalks, and new pavement.
In pursuit of economic development and business growth, we welcomed new businesses, Joyride Express Car Wash, Timber Mesa Self-Storage, El Charro Beer Restaurant, and Battery Plus Bulbs. We saw the construction of the new Arizona Central Credit Union building, and Cal Ranch is working on a major expansion and a relocation to a portion of the old Kmart building. Northland Pioneer College began construction on their 28,000 square foot skills center at the White Mountain campus in Shoalo. There is a tentative completion date for that project in the fall of 2022. APS and Electrify America selected Shoalo as a location to install 4 electric vehicle charging stations for public users, which should be completed by February of this year. The charging stations are located in the south parking lot at City Hall. The city issued 200 single-family residential permits in 2021, which is a 31% increase from 2020. We recently issued a permit for the highly anticipated Town Place Suites in Fairfield by Marriott, which is scheduled to begin construction soon. We also continue to research the development of a convention, events, and sports facility in Shoalo. This is a long-term vision to make our city a destination. We will continue to collaborate with other communities to provide added valued services to our region, such as our much-needed transit system and a supporting tourism marketing efforts for our area.
In terms of our financial position, the council and staff are committed to using your taxpayer dollars wisely. Our conservative fiscal policy ensures we have the necessary funds to meet your needs and withstand economic downturns. We never spend more than we have budgeted. We also save money to pay for at least a portion of larger, more expensive projects in future years. Our department managers share that vision by carefully analyzing every program to ensure efficiency. We're proud to say our fiscal policies have allowed Show Low to survive difficult economic times and see modest growth. We believe in retaining local control over the city's budget, which must be balanced according to state law. To protect you and our city's assets, we have 2 permanent mandates: to maintain at least a minimum of $1 million in reserves and to require a supermajority vote of the City Council to approve any tax increase. We invite you to participate in our civic process when the council and staff meet to discuss next fiscal year's budget. Every budget meeting, which will be held in council chambers, is open to the public. We begin the process in January with a town hall style meeting designed specifically for citizen input this Thursday, January 20th at 6 p.m. We'll hold another budget town hall for public input on Thursday, April 7th. The entire budget calendar is posted on our website.
To improve our quality of life, another City Council priority, our employees are dedicated to providing a variety of events, including sports leagues, kids and family-friendly events, library and aquatic center activities, holiday celebrations, and music in our parks. To celebrate our May 1953 incorporation, we held our annual party along with the barbecue throwdown. The popular competition drew master barbecue pitmasters from across the United States with savory tastings and day-long festivities. In the summer, our annual 4th of July parade and Freedom Fest drew spectators and participants from across the region to enjoy patriotic activities, live music, and spectacular fireworks. Our signature Show Low Shines for the holidays illuminated our city with sparkling Christmas lights and holiday spirit. We had one of our best Christmas light parades with many participants and spectators. To improve amenities and attractions, we expanded the parking lot at the Show Low Meadow and have planned expansion of the walking trail in the meadow to Wolford Road for later this year. Frontier Park will soon be getting an all-inclusive playground and splash pad for all to enjoy. The pickleball and sand volleyball courts will be getting new lighting this year, and the city partnered with Show Low BMX LLC to make major improvements to the BMX track at Nicholas Homestead Park. With these improvements, Show Low BMX was able to host a state race in 2021 and plan to host more races this year. Additionally, Show Low Public Library received a major expansion in 2021 of 1,800 square feet to accommodate a new teen center. What a great improvement.
In pursuit of preserving our city's history, last year we relocated the Adams family cabin from its location near Show Low Creek to the south end of the parking lot at City Hall, which includes adding decorative fencing and a monument in honor of the family. We also purchased the historic Reed Head House that's located on the Deuce of Clubs. This house predates Arizona statehood and will be an important building to keep preserved for our community. Looking ahead to 2022, our plans include restoring the Reed Head home, improving restrooms and other infrastructures at city parks, improving Show Low Lake campgrounds, making sewer capacity improvements in the Nicholas subdivision, McNeil Acres, and 6th Street, and extending sewer services at 30th Avenue and Merrill, making road improvements in the Pine Glen Nicholas subdivision, installing curbing at Fairway Drive and 36th Drive, and reconstruction of Woodruff Road. Water projects will include water line improvements at East Owens from 1st Street to 11th Street, North 4th Street, and 241 Deuce of Clubs. Mills from Owens to 6th Place, and Phase 1 of water lines replacement at Park Valley. Boutique Air, the city commuter airline since August 2015, continues daily flights between Show Low and Phoenix with steady use by passengers.
We attribute much of our success to the able assistance of our employees and volunteers who deliver their best to serve you. Our advisory committees, senior patrol, and library friends all provide their services for free, saving taxpayer dollars. In 2021, Senior Patrol volunteered a total of 8,473 hours, which was 2,092 hours more than in 2020. The library friends donate money to assist with the library projects and help with events. We're proud of our heritage of bringing hope and prospect of a better life through our community projects and holiday assistance programs. In observance of the Martin Luther King Jr. Day of Service, the city has sponsored an annual service day since 2009. We invite you to join us on April 30th for our community service project. Our cost-conscious approach supports our pledge to deliver full police and public works services, community events, and recreational activities to meet your needs and interests. We offered our 23rd annual free project, Clean Sweep Beautification Program, provided a Christmas tree recycling site, co-sponsored the 13th annual Electronic Waste and Used Tires Collection event with Navajo County, and expanded our Adopt a Street program, which we're always looking for more participation from the community. If you're interested in participating in Adopt a Street program, contact our Public Works Department. We also supported the 9th annual Community Fast of Compassion, helping our community raise a record more than $66,000 for individuals and families in need during the holidays. We thank everyone who donated their time, money, and efforts.
This August, we will hold our city elections with 3 council seats on the ballot for a 4-year term. The political and social landscape has gone through many changes over the past few years. Let that not deter us from supporting each other. Focus on the positive and the enriching the world has to embark on the new year. Let us leave behind a legacy of a better city for tomorrow and for future generations. Your City Council thanks you for your confidence in our ability to handle the city affairs, a sentiment we share by your fellow Americans. Polls show that more than a decade, Americans continue to trust local governments more than state governments and the federal government. Because the City Council and our staff are dedicated to remaining accessible to you, we welcome your feedback. We are responsive and transparent, and we work together as a group in a nonpartisan way. We appreciate all you do to make our community a wonderful place to live. We thank all of you, our citizens, and wish you and your family the best of health, peace, and happiness in 2022. And may God continue to bless and prosper our community. Well, I think that was a lot better than we've done in the past.
Yep.
Rachel, thank you for that idea. That was a great idea. And Grace, once again, thank you and your staff, council. I think that was pretty cool. Everybody got to pick where they wanted to have it and do their little skit. So I think it turned out great. Thank you guys again. Pretty exciting. And now it's something that we can share with social media from here on out. So that's even better than listening to us up here talking. So anyway, thank you guys very much. Thank you again, Rachel. That was a great idea. All righty, moving right along. Next item on the agenda is the consent calendar. We'll have a consideration of acceptance of additional Arizona Department of Transportation grant funding for Taxiway A, consideration of resolution number R 2022-22, approving memorandum of an agreement with the Federal Land Access Program. I know there's more. Consideration of a contract revision and contract extension for utility bill mailing, and consideration of the minutes of Show City Council meetings on January 4th. Is there anybody that needs anything pulled? If not, I'll entertain a motion to accept the consent calendar as read. Got a motion by Councilman Adams, second by Vice Mayor. All those in favor? All those opposed, same sign. Motion passed. Next item on the agenda is under new business, consideration of an award of construction contract for Frontier Park parking lot expansion, City of Show Low project number R2422, and authorizing of associated budget transfer. Mr. Hemsall.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. City's fiscal year 2022 capital improvement plan budget includes its funding labeled Frontier Park parking lot. This project is a portion of the proposed improvements that include an inclusive playground, splash pad at Frontier Park. The parking lot improvements are the first phase of the improvements and will include a 300-foot by 70-foot paved parking area, which includes 45 additional paved parking stalls and 9 additional Americans with Disabilities Act accessible parking stalls. The improvements also include the installation of electrical conduit, 13 parking lot lights, irrigation conduit for future landscaping, and grading a large dirt level pad for the future playground and splash pad improvements. The project was designed by city engineering staff with a construction estimate of $350,000. The budget was publicly bid in accordance with statutory requirements with the following results. Rawlings Specialty Contracting, $479,540.00, and service contracting is $631,665.00. Staff recommends awarding the construction contract for the Frontier Park parking lot expansion, City of Show Low project number R2422 to Rawlings Specialty Contracting, and that amount not to exceed that $479,540.00, and authorize the associated budget transfer. The bid tabulation for the work is attached. I'm available for any questions.
Any questions? Comments? Motions?
I'll move toward the construction contract for the Frontier Park parking lot expansion, City of Show Low project number R-2422 to Rawlings Specialty Contracting in an amount not to exceed $479,540, and authorize the associated budget transfers.
Got a motion, need a second? Second by Councilman Wilson, Councilwoman Wilson. All those in favor? All those opposed, same sign. Motion passed. Thank you, sir. Don't go far. Consideration, next item on the agenda is consideration of an award of construction contract for Frontier Park inclusive playground installation, City of Show Low project number FM 2622. Mr. Hemp.
Thank you. Our budget also includes funding for a project labeled Frontier Inclusive Park Playground. This project includes multiple proposed improvements that we just mentioned that include the inclusive playground, splash pad, and additional parking. At the December 7th, 2021 meeting, the City Council approved the purchase of the playground equipment due to the long lead time in manufacturing and delivery. Arizona Recreation Design was procured through the Sourcewell State Contract number 010521-LTS-4 for the installation of the playground. The scope of the work includes installing the purchased playground equipment, installing sidewalk, fencing, concrete curb, poured in place Americans with Disability rubber play surface, and installing a keystone wall and ramps for the ADA access to the equipment. The cost of the installation of the playground construction is $477,478.13. Staff recommends awarding the construction contract for the Frontier Park Inclusive Playground installation, City of Show Low project number FM 2622 to Arizona Recreation Design in that amount not to exceed $477,478.13. The Arizona Recreation Design quote and scope are attached, and there's also an image of the inclusive playground attached as well. I'm available for any questions.
Thank you, sir. Just real quick comment, not much of a question, but it seems like we've been working on this project forever, and I know everybody in this community is really excited to see this happen, and I know everybody up here on the council that's on the council is just as excited, so it's going to be really nice to see this go through. Vice Mayor.
Oh, I had a question. Shane, do we have room in this area for expansion? It seems like anytime we've put in playground equipment, it gets heavily used and there's long lines and all that kind of stuff. Have we kind of take that into consideration with the design of this? And if this is a very heavily used playground, is there an opportunity for us to expand that and put more equipment over there?
This playground, the way it's built has to be all inclusive, so all has to be in this one area with the rubber surface. It's not like a normal playground where it's, wood chips or grass or whatever. So it has to be pretty much all confined in one area. And we did place it right next to the splash pad, which is also inclusive. So anybody with all abilities can use that. So they're kind of lumped together. We do have property next to or west of us that we can expand to further amenities if needed, as well as parking too, because I think the additional parking is going to be what we want to see down there as well.
Okay, thanks, Shane.
Yeah.
Question, Vice Mayor.
If any other comments or questions? I'm so excited about this project. I just can't even tell you how excited I am, but I move to award the construction contract for the Frontier Park Inclusive Playground installation, City of Shola project number FM 2622 to Arizona Recreation Design in an amount not to exceed $477,478.13.
Got a motion, seconded by Councilman Adams. Look for a vote. All those in favor? All those opposed, same sign. Thank you, sir. Excited to see that happen.
Good day.
Very good day. All righty, next item on the agenda is consideration of ordinance number 2022-01, authorizing purchase of real property known as Navajo County Assessor Parcel Number 210-30-016, 210-30-018, and 210-30-019 from MMK Capital Partners, I'm sorry, no apartments.
Nice.
Mr. Brown.
There's start a rumor there, man.
I know it.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. As you can see in the map right there, the city owns approximately 5 acres at that location of Wolford and South Sierra Park Trail, right where somebody's showing it with the arrow. Is that you, Bill? Anyways, recently the staff was approached by the owner of the adjacent property to see if they were interested in selling the property to expand for a future park open space. The adjacent property consists of approximately 12.7 acres. The owner's representative indicated they were interested in selling the property and agreed to donate the cost of 2 of the acres off the purchase price. So the purchase price is $400,000, and then the city would provide a letter of donation for the $75,000. Each party would pay their customary closing costs, and the agreement allows the city for a 30-day inspection period. The close of escrow will be on or about February 18th of 2022. City staff recommends adopting ordinance number 2022-01 and the letter of intent and authorizing the mayor to sign and purchase the purchase agreement and necessary documents to purchase the property for expansion for a future park and open space. We're available for any questions.
Real quick, whoever can can you circle the property we already own? Just so reference. Okay, that's the 5 acres that we already own, correct? I know it, as long as I've been sitting up here from planning and zoning to now on city council, from RVs going in this property, from apartments going in this property, 2 3-story apartments, and the people over there in the subdivision to the south there. It's pretty exciting, I think, and I believe everybody up here thinks this open space, where this is at, for the city to purchase this and keep it open space, future parks, obviously, because we all love open space. So I think it's real exciting that we are bringing this to the council to vote on purchasing. Vice Mayor.
Just comment. I agree with your statements. I think it's pivotal to our goals to keep this community thriving and provide open space and places to go and meet your family and have picnics and those kinds of things. But if we allowed this to become a trailer park or multifamily apartments, that kind of thing, I think it would have been a shame to let it go to that use. And so I'm really glad that we're doing this.
Thank you. Any other comments?
I just want to say I'm excited also about this. I think it's good, the open space. I agree with everything that's been said up here, and I think this is great for the city of Shola. And I'm excited that we will have this, and we'll get to enjoy some more open space. I think this is wonderful.
Thank you. Okay, if there's no other comments, I'll ask City Clerk by unanimous consent, read ordinance number 2022-01 by title only, since all council members have a copy.
Thank you.
Oh, a little late.
That's a reach. City of Shiloh ordinance number 2021 or 2022-01, an ordinance of the mayor and council of the city of Shiloh, Arizona, authorizing the purchase of real property known as AP numbers 210-30-016, 210-30-018, and 210-30-019 from MMK Capital Partners LLC.
Thank you, appreciate that. Before I actually, I'd like to make this motion, and I'd be proud to make this motion. I move to adopt ordinance number 2022-01 and further move to approve the letter of intent with MMK Capital Partners LLC and authorize the mayor to sign all documents necessary for the purchase of property, including the purchase agreement, and authorize associated budget transfer. Have a motion and a second. All those in favor? All those opposed, same sign. Motion passed. Thank you. Yay.
So pretty.
Now we'll be able to see elk standing out there for a while. You got to give me a minute to get back to where I should be. Okay, next item on the agenda is consideration of an award construction contract for police evidence building, City of Shiloh project number FM 2322, and authorize of associate budget transfers. Mr. Cox.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. In fiscal year 2021, the city purchased the old Schwann's building located at 1301 East Thornton. The city's fiscal year 2022 capital improvement plan budget includes funding for the renovation of the building to be used for police evidence and permanent city file storage. The proposed renovations include secure gun and drug storage area and a walk-in refrigerator and freezer for long-term cold storage of evidence. The restroom also needs to be upgraded to meet American with Disabilities Act codes. Preliminary cost estimate was prepared by Hiddell and Associates Architects, who is the architectural firm that designed the public safety building. Their estimated cost was $330,000, not including design. City staff prepared a request for proposals for a design build project. The request for proposals was advertised per statutory requirements. 3 contractors attended the mandatory pre-proposal meeting. A single proposal was received from LD&B LLC. Staff met with the contractor to negotiate the scope of work and fee for the project. Based on negotiations, the contractor presented a cost of $293,821 with design included. LD&B has completed construction contracts for the city in the past and has performed very well. The library expansion project is their most recently completed city project. Staff recommends awarding the design build contract for the police evidence building, City of Shiloh project number FM 2322 to LD&B LLC in amount not to exceed $293,821 and authorizing the associated budget transfers. I'd be happy to answer questions.
Questions or comments?
I have a comment.
Councilwoman Wilson.
So, it's important, I think, for people to know that, like, this project and other projects we voted on tonight, it seems like a lot of money, but that's all money that we've budgeted over, like, the year and stuff to ensure that we could do those projects, correct?
Yes.
I mean, it's not like we're pulling and borrowing from it. That's money that we have set aside that we knew some of these projects were coming up.
Yes, that's true.
I just think that's really important for people to know, and I'm glad that we're doing this too.
Mr. Cup, I got a question. So it's all fenced in right now, right? That piece
Yes.
of property is. Is it going to be, are we going to redo the fencing for that to add some area for public works, or is he taking that whole entire property that we're purchasing?
We're actually doing a fencing project for the vehicle impound area. And that project, I know we have a bid out there for that. I can't recall what the status of that is, but part of the project is some impound fencing. We will be separated. This facility and Public Works will be separated with a fence as well. So it won't be one area.
But the area where city storage and the police evidence is right now will turn into a public works area.
Any other questions or comments? Make a motion.
I move to award the design build contract for the police evidence building, City of Sholo, project number FM 2322 to LD&B LLC in an amount not to exceed $293,821 and authorize the associated budget transfers.
Got a motion, I got a second by Councilman Adams. All those in favor? All those opposed, same sign. Sometimes I don't know if you're wanting to ask her a question. Motion passed unanimously. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Now go fill up that building, right, Brad? All righty, next item on the agenda is summary of current events. Council members?
You know,
Councilwoman Wilson.
it seems lately like we've had a lot of accidents lately, going out of town, maybe heading past the airport, and down 260. And so I just want to remind people of the speed limit, be aware of when you're driving, what's around you and stuff like that, because it's a shame we've lost good people recently to these accidents. And so it's just important that we pay attention.
And of course, with the crazy weather we're having, animals are going crazy. They don't know where to go either. So I know a few of them that hit animals leaving town or swerved to miss animals. But good comment. Any other comments? Vice Mayor.
My usual diatribe. COVID is still very prevalent in our community and in our county. So please make sure that you're staying social distance, and wear your mask, get your vaccination. If you need more information on vaccination, you can look it up on summithealthcare.net.
Thank you. Before I turn it over to City Manager, just real quick, just keep the Rawlings family in your prayers this week. They were going to go through some things toward the end of the week here. So just keep them in your prayers. They're going to need lots. So, City Manager.
Thank you, Mayor. As you know, we've started the process to prepare the city's fiscal year 2023 budget. We're holding a town hall budget meeting specifically for citizen input this Thursday, January 20th at 6 p.m. here in the council chambers. All the budget meetings are open to the public. And if you want a list of all those meetings, which the public's invited to attend, they're all listed on our website, sholoaz.gov. Candidate packets are available for anyone interested in running for a seat on the city council. As the mayor mentioned in his State of the City, there's 3 seats available. This August will be the primary election. The necessary paperwork must be filed between Monday, March 7th and Monday, April 4th. And if you want more information on the election, you can contact the city clerk's office at 532-4061. The Recreation Department will be hosting a Valentine date night drive-in theater movie. The movie's called Always at the Frontier Park on February 11th at 7 p.m. The event is $10 per car, which includes popcorn, hot cocoa, and candy. If you want more information on this activity or any other activity the Recreation Department has, you can contact them at 532-4141. And finally, we have a few public works projects going around in the city. The contractor started and continues working on the sewer project on McNeil from 4th to 8th, and in part of it will be actually in the Days Inn parking lot. And we're also, the contractor's finishing up the concrete work at the city campus parking lot, and hopefully paving will be scheduled as soon as it warms up and they're able to pave that area, and it'll be a nice addition to that campus. Again, we thank all our citizens for their patience as we improve the city of Sholo. Thank you.
Thank you, City Manager. And once again, we probably never preach it enough. Our budget, we're here, so we want your involvement. We'd like to have it before we approve the budget, that's for sure. So getting involved, it's your money. We definitely want to see you all here as we go through the budget. Anybody need any seconds? Really? Wow. All right, scheduling of meetings. Not this time. See no schedule of the meetings. If there's no other business before this city council, I'll adjourn this meeting. Thank you, guys.